Hello and welcome to another video on the Garage of Luke channel, where today it's less BCA Bucket, more BCA Bio-Hazard. That's right, you may have seen over the last few months of the channel that buying on BCA has become somewhat of a reasonable part of the cars that we end up with. Now, overall, I don't think things have gone too badly. I mean, we had the Peugeot, which the chaps at BCA Enfield literally said, don't drive it out of London, which I thought was just something to do with some random thing or joke. But no, they were just saying it won't actually make it out of London. But we proved them wrong, because we actually drove that car all the way to Cornwall, as you may well remember. And while it did spend quite a lot of its time in limp mode and proved to be somewhat difficult going up hills, overall, it was quite a good car. Now, there's also been other cars. There's been the Jaguar XFS V8 that you might remember from the group test against kind of the Range Rover, where we looked at the Jaguar 4.2 supercharged engine and how much I like that engine. That was also a very good car. And so far, I've not really been stung, which can happen. You are always at risk when buying a car from auction because you don't know why it's ended up in auction in the first place. So, what I wanted a few weeks ago was a car for the winter. I wanted not a winter beater as such, but just something that I could use through the winter, a petrol with 4x4, something that was just easy, something reliable, something that I could just float about in and not have to worry about driving any of my other cars through the harsh British winter. I'd always had quite good luck with a good friend of mine called Joe with CRVs. We've had quite a few of them and they've always been pretty bulletproof. They're good cars. So I thought, why don't I just buy one of them? We've put them through some abuse over the years and they've never really let us down. So obviously I started searching and thought, well, we've bought them when we've not really cared how good they are. Now I'm trying to buy a decent one, I will do well. However, as you might see, I've not done well, because even from the front, you can see that this car's had a bit of a prank. Now, I did know about that. I saw the damage. That didn't really bother me because, again, it's a car to be driven through the winter and I didn't pay very much for it. In fact, this was £300, so it was not a lot of money. But when I turned up at BCA to collect this vehicle, I wasn't quite ready for just how bad it was going to be. As you can see, obviously, at the front, we have got une pièce de damage. It's had a bit of a prang here, and judging by how wobbly the radiator is, it's had a bit more than just a prang, and somebody zip-tied all of the kind of bonnet catch assembly to itself to make it not fall off. It's definitely carrying some battle scars. The headlights are faded. There's a scuff here. That used to be a kind of a washer for the headlight, but that's gone. That's disappeared. So that's probably been part of the small accident it had. And then down the side, as you can probably tell, and I hope this is coming through on camera, it is disgustingly dirty. The wheels are minging, the bodywork's minging. There's a scratch down here so deep that it's actually started rusting at the base of the scratch. I'll nip you around the other side and show you what's going on there. And then we won't delay. I will have to just admit to you what the biggest problem with this car is. So join me around the other side. So here, the rear bumper has slightly sort of come off. I did try and kind of knee it back in and it kind of just, it doesn't really do anything. I think the bracket is slightly broken on there. And then at the actual back of the vehicle, again, big scuff here. So this car has seen many bollards or corners, kind of brick walls and stuff like that. The back of the car is actually not too bad. Again, there's a lot of moss and a lot of kind of algae and just horrors. Again, when I saw the car, when I walked up to it, I thought, that's fine. I don't need it to be mint. That's not what the car is for. But I did want it to kind of run and drive okay, and I also wanted to be able to drive it, which if I open the doors, you'll see how that is a slight problem. Bear with. Now, I don't want to get too close to this because I will admit I have already had to drive this back from BCA. I actually collected it from a centre about 20 minutes from here, and that was a stressful drive because I did not have the correct PPE for what is lying inside this car. The front isn't even the worst. It is full of leaves and fur and hair, and also in the centre console, I might admit this sort of was my fault, because while the car is, as you can tell, getting worse and worse and worse the more we walk around it, it is an executive, which means it's got a sunshine roof. I like a sunshine roof. And I opened it and it worked, which means already this is a more reliable car than a BMW. I also then forgot I had a sunshine roof and maybe left it open, and then went to bed, enjoyed a very nice long sleep. And when I woke up in the morning, my father came up to me and he went, by the way, you've left the sunroof open on your CRV. Not normally a problem, except for the fact it had thrown it down all night. And therefore, the very handy kind of folding cup holder table array in the middle has slightly become full of water. And not only is it full of water, and another hint to just how bad this car is inside, it's developed a skin on top of the water where the amount of dirt that's in it has risen to the top and formulated this lovely layer. It's like a dirty car custard. That is quite bad, but it gets even worse because I'm now going to come forward and I'm going to open the back door. Here's the old aux belt. Now, I was actually investigating something which we'll get onto again in a minute, and I decided to take the aux belt off. And when I took it off, it didn't really come off in a kind of continuous fashion, let's say. So I'm sort of glad I did do that, because as much as there is a reason I was taking it off to do some investigative work, I'm kind of glad that I knew it was like this, because otherwise I'd have probably just floated about in it and that wouldn't have ended well. So that is done for. Now I've put a new one on, so everything is okay. It hasn't fixed the issue, which again we'll get to later, so I'm just going to kind of pop that out of the way. But in here, I had a friend of mine look at some photos that I sent them when I got the car, and she turned around and went, "It looks like somebody has skinned a fox in there." And do you know what? It does. It is absolutely full of fur. It stinks as well. I would like to point out that you don't have smell-o-vision on the camera. In here, the moment I get about here, I can smell the inside of this car. And what it smells like is somewhere humans shouldn't exist. This annoys me because I have been in the motor trade since I left school. I've done it for 9 years now, in fact, because I am, in fact, getting quite old. And I have seen some terrible, terrible cars. I used to work at a Ford main dealer, and some of the trade-ins that came in were disgusting. I've bought and sold cars, over 600 now since I started all the way back then. And again, there have been some awful, awful cars. This absolutely takes the piss. This, I don't know how people can live like this. I am bad for leaving the odd can or bit of rubbish in my car, but this is a whole new level. I'm sure there'll be some B-roll to show you just how bad things are, but it is terrible. And it doesn't get any better if I open the boot. In here, there is what looks like concrete dust. There's hair. There are bits of just, it's awful. It's terrible. It's just absolutely full of terrors. But I know that some of you watching will have all been sitting there going, yes, but does it have the Does it have because everyone's already asked me that. And somehow, despite the condition of the car and the amount of bits that are missing, in fact, you might be able to see through there that I haven't even drawn attention to the fact it's missing 4 headrests. I can only imagine they've been taken out because they might have been chewed by whatever fox-based creature has kind of voided all of its fur in. But I can happily tell you that the best feature of the vehicle is in fact in there. This is the pièce de résistance of the Honda CR-V, and I've never put one of these up, it's so easy. Look at, oh yes. My good, I think I've just been covered in hair by erecting it. Every car should have this. That's just the mat, that's just the kind of false floor that goes under the boot and it folds out into a table. That is a very simple piece of engineering and a fantastic one, and I'm sure we'll find a use for this later on. On the subject of the use for the car though, I was still at this point looking at it thinking, but I could clean that out. I could sort that and I could use it. It'll be a lot of hoovering and a lot of work, but I can fix this. However, there is one more thing I haven't really told you about, and for that, we're going back to the front of the vehicle. As I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, this is the old auxiliary belt off the car, which is split all the way down the middle and is absolutely done for. But the only reason I actually took this off was to investigate something, as I mentioned. And the thing I was investigating was the noise the car makes when you turn it on. Because I'd like to point out, again, we've had a few of these. I've driven them about with not much oil in them, and I've never heard one make a terrible noise because they're quite reliable. But this one, when I first turned it on, yielded me with this noise. That's not a good noise. In fact, that's a noise that, because it sounded like it was coming from the bottom end of the engine, made me immediately think this car needs to go to John the Scrap Man and the deal needs to be done with him. However, I'm going to turn it off because I don't want to listen to it anymore. What I did was I took the aux belt off, hence why it just detonated into a million pieces. And with the aux belt off the car, the noise goes away, which means, one, it's not a catastrophic engine noise, engine fine, car not worth half. Number two, it's something on the aux array. I did some poking and prodding and lots of attempting to try and make the noise, and my father helped me out, and we were at a bit of a loss until I found that there was quite a bit of play on the water pump. So obviously, being the industrious fellow that I am, it was beep, 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 beep. Hello, Febby-Bilstein/Blueprint, can I please have a water pump? However, between the water pump being sent and the water pump arriving, I made the decision that I'm in fact going to send them back the water pump because there's no point me keeping it. Because I found out that to do a water pump on a CRV, you have two choices. Number one, remove the crank pulley. The crank pulley does not look healthy on this car. I don't want to remove it. Number two, drop the subframe and drop the engine out slightly. Because as it turns out, the water pump doesn't clear the chassis leg. So that's a job you have to do. Now, say what you will about reliable cars, these are reliable. I mean, this has done 170,000 miles. So the fact that it's lasted that long, because it looks like it is the original item, is very impressive. And everyone says to me, Luke, you love Range Rovers and Range Rovers are unreliable. The thing is, they are, and parts fail, but they're ever so easy to change. They just simply come off and come on. So I don't know what I prefer, an unreliable car that's really easy to work on, or a reliable car that is impossible to work on. You'll have to let me know in the comments what your preference is. However, now you'll have seen the state of the inside of the car, the state of the outside of the car, and the state of the noise the engine is making. Those three things combined have led me to the opinion that it is just not worth doing anything with this car. I could fix it, it's never going to be worth any money. I could run it into the ground over winter, but it looks so rubbish and it's missing so many bits that I just don't really want to because I think it would just be unpleasant. So that got me to thinking, what can I do to, number one, test the car and see if, aside from the issues, they are good cars and they're good at being a winter off-roader. And number two, is there something that I can do with this car? Is there a purpose it can serve for me so that I've at least got something out of it? And then I thought of something. So what if I took a car that is already disgusting, and rather than doing the classic garage of Luke, I'm going to clean it and make it somewhat passable. What if I just effectively wrote the car off by using it for one massive tip run? Now, in my boy maths brain, this is a fantastic idea. So that's basically what we're going to do today. Can this £300 BCA Bio-Hazard do a tip run? It doesn't sound particularly difficult, but I have a feeling it might be a bit harder than I'm making out. So let's fill the car with rubbish. I need to first prep the vehicle for loading. So I'm going to put on my very handy and very well used Blueprint gloves, which are good because they've got rubber so I can't be cut or spiked by anything. Well, hopefully that's the idea anyway. I lean through, pull that and I've just, the hair, just the hair. I'm gonna pull that forward. I think these seats would come out properly, but I also don't want to, because if I take them out and put them anywhere, they will yield everything that's on them into wherever I put them. So as much as I'm going to lose a bit of room, I am just going to fold them down. And in my mind, that's now sort of loadable area that I can start putting things in for our big tip run. The thing I've got to, and Addison, who obviously you're behind the camera, please remember, I must not come back with more than I leave with, because sometimes when I go to a tip, they have a shop, or they have a little area where there's things that, you know, they're like, oh, this is too good, throw away. I must not come back with more, all right? That's a rule, because I always do that, because I'm a hoarder. So, let's get the car loaded up. Lots of old things, just, that's, oh, one of the bags is already leaking. I have just nearly poked my eye out with that dipstick, that's quite bad. How was that the bay go? Lots of bulky waste just in, yeah, and just wiper blades, just all of it going in. Sort of blocked my passage, so I'm going to start inserting from the rear. It's turned into such a productive day. This is fantastic. It's what this car was built for. So many different smells, and yet none of them will make it smell worse. I have no idea what these are off, but they're going. Oh, she's squatting. I think these might be off the Jag, these ones, and I think this might be our last bag, but not our last thing. Now, some of you may remember this as being the rubbish bonnet off of the Alfa Romeo, which obviously was in poor overall condition. Now, this is no longer needed, really, so I am going to see if it will go in here, because then we can just get rid of it. So I'll just very gently, Oh, the practicality of these cars is just brilliant. And then in theory, that won't slide back and go through the rear windscreen at all. I've had an idea. I just need to make it safe. I don't want smashed glass, so I'll just, they're safe. actually safe. Just, oh, brilliant. Great success. So that's the car all loaded up, ready for our expedition. However, again, it is, I can't reiterate this enough, disgusting in there, and I don't want to be in there. And also, something I haven't mentioned, driver's window doesn't actually go down. The rest do, but the driver's window doesn't, which means I have to breathe in the miasma of horrors that are in the car. So I think I should probably change into something more appropriate. I'm already in filthy clothes, although some of you will probably just go, well, you look exactly the same as you always do, you styleless cretin. However, I have acquired something which will make this job a little bit more bearable. So I'll just change into that. And there we go. I'm now ready to conquer a journey in the CRV. And luckily, this fabric's ever so breathable and I'm not definitely getting really hot and sweaty and horrible. I just hope, for the sake of speed and efficiency, they've got a big bin that I can just reverse up to and hit the brakes, because that'd get rid of all of it in one fell swoop. Oh, here goes nothing. I'm so uncomfortable. The things I do for content. Right, let's go. Column shift. I like column shift. Handbrake off. Let's just pop off here. Oh, the brakes are very sharp. Oh no! Oh bother! I've forgotten the thing. Oh. That's knocking lots, but it's fine because I know it's not the engine. Just where shall I put it? Oh yeah, that'll do. Right, to the tip. So, Addison, how are you feeling about being in the CR Bio-Hazard?
Honestly, it's looking from here, it's lovely.
Yeah.
Straightforward. It
Yeah.
doesn't smell. But
No, I can't smell a thing.
No.
Which
I don't know
is
if it's because of the mask. It
Might be because of the mask.
But when I turn around and see that at any moment I might get decapitated by
No,
the
that's
bonnet.
fine. It's not an unsafe load.
Okay, that's fine then.
It's fine.
Then this car's amazing.
Do you know what the funny thing is? Nobody is looking at me in a strange way at all driving it like this, but
She
that's the
definitely did.
woman who's just turned in front of us. I can't even pretend. But it doesn't drive too badly. It's a bit wobbly, but the gearbox is nice. My column shift automatic's lovely, and the indicators work, so everything's fine. There is something I need to admit to you though.
Oh no.
Well, I'm going with the Space Saver lads to France in, actually, funnily enough, our ferry's in about 10 hours.
Oh.
And I've ordered an aux belt. So I need to pick that up,
Oh,
and we're not
God.
going to get time to do it any other time of the day. So we'll just have to nip and get that. And also the petroleum light is on.
So we might get arrested because we look dodgy?
No, it'll be
Are
fine.
you
We'll
sure?
just explain exactly what we're doing. I've bought a car that's so rubbish inside we've had to wear this. But we are going to turn up at a petrol station looking like this because I need fuel. And we're now, oh God, we're going onto a dual carriageway. This is exciting. Oh,
listen
feel
to the purr.
This car, this is running well. I can't hear the knocking now either. It's great. So I think we need to go and get some fuel, which will be stress-free, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then we need to go and pick up an aux belt, and then we can go to the tip, which we probably should have done first, but I'm now going the way to fuel and an aux belt. So let's go and do that. That's a bit of squirting her. Somehow they've approved the pump. I was a little bit worried. I thought they might not do that. Yeah. £15 and a penny will be fine. Now I've just got to go and pay, and I think my wallet's in there. This will go fine. Yeah, we'll call it that. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day. That went a lot better than I thought it would. Right, aux belt next. Oh, I can't put my wallet back in my pocket. I can't get to it. So, putting fuel in it was actually quite a lot less stressful than I imagined. I am getting the odd look, I will be honest. Just the odd one or two, maybe. So now, all we've got to do is drive half a mile down the road, round the corner, to go and get an aux belt for a Citroen AX. But just one of the many things, you know, what does your unemployed friend do on a Thursday? Well, this is life. So we're going to pick up the aux belt and then finally we can go to the tip and decant all of our goods. As the car gets warmer, I think the transfer case might be about to explode, because on full lock and when accelerating even in a straight line, there's a lot of bums. There's a lot of bum bum bum, which is not good. But we're arriving, so let's go and get an aux belt. I would like to point out what I think's just happened is they've seen me walk in like this and everyone has literally run away because it looks like I might be introducing some sort of disease. Oh, hello. Yeah. Yeah, not bad. How are you? Hello. Has my aux belt arrived? Yes. Has it? Yeah. Oh, brilliant. That is a flimsy piece of material. This is a very inconvenient way to live. Yeah. Face not recognised. I'm not surprised. I've got to put these back on because my hands are sticking to the steering wheel of my Honda CR-V. Have a lovely day. Thank you ever so much as always. Mission successful. Door shut. Right. I want to stop getting in this car. I want today to be finished. I want to go home. Yeah. They know a good car when they see it. So, I've just had some terrible news, which is I've looked at the website for the tip because I've actually only ever been to this one once before, and I found out they shut at 4 p.m. And as you can see in front of us, the traffic is just at a logjam. It's everywhere. I'm barely moving. I'm only doing 60, admittedly in the left lane. So I'm going to turn off here because we have no option whatsoever than to take a shortcut. It's the only thing we can do. Addison, this is a better way to travel. There's a sign there that says private no right of way, but I'm sure that's fine.
I mean, this is fine. This is better than being on the motorway.
This is, I mean, look, I can see the motorway and they're all going faster than us, but we are cutting a corner, and that's what 4x4s are about. And I will give it credit, the Vicky's very good at this whole gravel track grass kind of all this. This is brilliant.
It does feel very smooth.
I cannot hear my transfer case at all.
No, that's nice.
This is brilliant. Right, I think we'll just pull out of here and then we'll get to the tip. We have arrived at the recycling centre, and after a quick conversation, the very kind staff at the recycling centre have said that I'm allowed to film here because you do have to be careful with that sort of thing. So, first, I don't like this whole locking-unlocking thing. That's very inconvenient. First, I'm going to try and get rid of the bulky waste in the bulky waste because that's where it goes. And then there's a specific metal bin that I can put the metal in, so we'll leave that till later because I'm not carrying brake discs all the way over there. So, oh no, I've caused a mess. Yes, brilliant. Fantastic. Oh dear. Oh no. So we've got most of the rubbish out of the car now, which is good, but I've realised there's a very good way of cleaning this CR-V because I can simply remove the floor mat and bin it. And then I don't have to hoover it. God, look at that. That is disgusting. Front mats in the bin. And now we've moved somewhere else because I wanted to be closer to the scrap metal bin so I can dispose of an entire bonway. Oh, yes. That is nice. Some brake discs and we're done. Oh no! I've dented my bonnet. Bother. I've also decided to remove all of the boot carpets because they're all just a write-off, so I've got to go back over to the bulky waste to put those away, and then we're done. Now time for a late lunch, I think. So there we go, one bootload of stuff decanted into the recycling centre successfully. So the one job I set out for the CR-V has been completed. Now, what have we learned? Well, this car is not a good car. CRVs in general are good, and I would always recommend them. However, this specific one is not fantastic. There are a lot of problems with it, and I'm wearing crispy clothing because of the level of just disgrace that's in the car. And I've got hot, I've got sweaty, I'm not enjoying myself, hence why I've pulled over, utilised the CRV table in a nice lay-by with nothing of note anywhere around me, and just, I'm having a relax, I'm having some lunch. Now, as much as these are good cars, and I would recommend them, this one I wouldn't recommend. I wouldn't recommend anyone buys it, but by the time this video goes out, it'll already be gone. There is, however, a good lesson here. When buying from auction, you've seen us do it before, and we've actually had a reasonably good run. We've bought some good stuff, but it's only right that we're honest about when it goes wrong, so that you don't go blindly into an auction thinking everything's brilliant, because it isn't, as this car proves. You may end up with a bargain BCA Bucket, but you might end up with a knocking BCA Bio-Hazard. I've been Luke, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. I think we should leave.